Hey, brothers and sisters. I'm just wanting to go to be in heaven with y'all. So I hope you've had a good day, good weekend so far. I look forward to Sundays because I have a couple of churches that I watch online that are doing some really good preaching. And I watched he preaches on Saturday nights too. I watched Bellevue Baptist talk about heaven, which is really great. And, God just is so amazing how if you pray a lot, He just sends people your way. And I'm really blessed to have these beautiful flowers. Like, seriously, aren't those gorgeous? Really, really, really pretty. And this morning I had a plumber coming out, and then it turned out he was wearing a wristband that had Philippians 4. I thought it was maybe 8 and 9, or 7 through 9, or 7 and 8. I'm not really sure. And his brother had died in January, but he died at 31 years old. But he had had an autoimmune disease all of his life. And they were shocked that he had lived as long as he did. He had a really, really hard time of it. But those were his favorite verses. And he just had a great life. But he loved the Lord, even though a lifetime of suffering. And so he's going to be one of these that's going to be up and being caught up to meet the Lord in the air. And then we who remain will be caught up too. And so then Brandon, he was, his brother's name is Joshua. His brother's name is Joshua. So we just were having a great time talking. And he is in the same situation as I'm in, where he is divorced, but he is not getting remarried. He's got custody every other week with his two children. And he was aware of the rapture. I gave him I've got this book called Rapture 911. I gave it to him. It really is that we're going to continue to pray that his wife, who left him, and they're divorced and she's in other relationships, that we talked about how he's kind of like Hosea. Hosea was married to a prostitute, and that we don't want our worst enemy to miss the rapture or to go to hell. But this book is really designed to help people make it after the rapture. And I gave him let's see, pause. Okay, so here's the book that I gave him, Rapture 911, What to Do If You've Been Left Behind, by Marcia Connolly. I don't think I gave him this book, One Flesh, A Biblical Perspective on the Permanence of Marriage, by Joe Fogel. He's in a good church, and they're supporting him with, in his singleness. And then this one I gave him, by Ray McMahon. I'm ordering some more copies of it from Ray. And if you're interested in this book, put it in the comments, and I will try to show you how to get it, or I can send you one. But it's The Unbreakable Covenant of Marriage, Breaking the Unholy Trap of Divorce and Remarriage. And Pastor Ray, I like watching him on Friday nights and on Sundays, and with praise, power, and prayer. And he is also pre-trib. And it says in his book, well, first of all, he signed the book with sanctify them by thy truth, John 17:17. Thy word is truth. And wow, this is not really, I wasn't really planning on doing a video about this, but anyway, great book, really, really great book. And the funny thing is, so here he is a pre-trib rapture believer. Here he is a pre-trib rapture believer. I don't know about the other book, Divorce and Remarriage, the Trojan Horse Within the Church. But anyway, it sort of just goes hand in hand with believing in a pre-trib rapture and with the covenant of marriage. Then the verse of the day, Psalm 25, 14 through 15. The Lord is a friend to those who fear him. He teaches them his covenant. My eyes are always on the Lord, for he rescues me from the traps of my enemies. Now, in the New Testament, we're supposed to pray for our enemies, but we pray for them. It doesn't mean that we continue just to be putting ourselves out there with our enemies to let them attack us. And then I woke up this morning at 5:45, which immediately made me think of Isaiah 54:5, which is really such a wonderful promise to me and for those of us who are single. For your Creator will be your husband. The Lord of heaven's armies is his name. He is your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, the God of all the earth. Now, I'm not replacement theology. I love Israel, but when you read the Bible, a lot of it is about Israel because Jesus was Jewish. And I guess it's Romans 9 through 11, it talks about how we have been grafted in for this period of time. And that dispensation is going to be ending. But God still loves Israel, and there's going to be a lot going on for Israel after the rapture. So the reason why I wanted to show y'all, I know y'all, a lot of people really don't like Trump, but Trump is very prophetic, and I'm discipling two non-Americans, one being a girl in Israel and the other one in Toronto. And so they're only 18 and they don't know the history of what's been going on with America and Israel and why Trump was so prophetic and everything, even though both of them do know that Obama is the Antichrist. And the Holy Spirit told them that. So I wanted just to show you, because Trump is doing these rallies. He calls them peaceful protest. He's doing these rallies, and I just wanted to explain to them why it was such a big deal when Trump moved the embassy and recognized Jerusalem. So that's what this is about. Let me zoom in. Here we go.
The first call I get will be them. And then I'll tell you the other calls, but I better not, because I'm going to just make the deal harder if I do. But plenty of other nations are going to be calling.
He's talking about Iran right there.
I recognize the true capital of Israel and opened the American embassy in Jerusalem. And I also recognize this. By the way, every president, for many, many presidents, right? Every single president said they were going to do that. And you went back, how many presidents? Many, many, many decades. And they all said they were going to do it, and they never did it. Because I'll tell you what, it wasn't easy. Once they got to office, the pressure put on your president not to do it was incredible. And I told the story. I didn't take phone calls. I got calls from kings and presidents and prime ministers not to do it. Don't do it, sir. Don't do it. We don't want you to do it, And it's going to be horrible if you do it, sir. It'll cause problems. Then finally I said, I'll tell you what, who's calling? A king. Who's calling? An emir. Who else is calling? Prime ministers, presidents. In one case, a queen. I was thinking about taking her call, but I said, and I said, no. What are they calling about? They want to talk you out of moving the capital of Israel to Jerusalem. I said, really? It's very important. Okay. Tell them that I'm going to call them back on Thursday. I had the press conference on a Tuesday. So I said, tell them I'll call them back on Thursday. I look forward to talking to them. I then announced that we were doing it, and we had Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. And then I called back the heads of all these countries. Yes, King, what can I do for you, President of the United States? Well, I wanted to talk to you about Israel, but it's already been announced. Oh, gee, I wish I got to you a little bit sooner. I'm sorry. No, it's much easier than, what do we need? So I got back to them. They were all very disappointed. And you know what? We opened, and it was going to cost anywhere from $1 billion to $2 billion. And I said to my very talented, who is one of the greatest lawyers in New York, David Friedman, a great lawyer. I said, David, see if you can get a piece of land cheap, or a piece that we already own, because they want to spend $2 billion to build this thing. I said, we can do it cheaper. Calls me back 2 days later. Sir, we have a piece of land with a building on it. I think we can renovate it for $350,000, and it'll be nicer than the one they want to build. So we did it for 350. I actually, first time in my life, I said, David, I've never said this before. It sounds too cheap. Make it 500,000. So instead of spending $1 billion to $2 billion, probably would have never got built. You can imagine the cost overruns, everything else. And this was a better location, a bigger piece of land, a better view, better everything, safer, better park. You know, we got there early. We have the best land, right? That's why I said it. I said, David, no matter where you are, we were always there first, right? If you want a good building, buy a post office. You know, it's always there. They were always there first. But we were there first. I said, we must. And he said, we have a great piece of land, a building. We fixed it. It was an empty building. And it's beautiful. And we used Jerusalem stone, which is a complicated thing, but I won't tell you about it. Very expensive, except if you happen to be in Jerusalem. And it's a beautiful embassy, and it's opened, and now we have the capital. And I'll tell you something. Think of it. Every single president, you go back during their campaign, they used to campaign on it, and nobody had the guts to do it. But we did it. Oh, look at you. We did it, right? Did I do it? And we opened the embassy 3 months later. Can you believe that? Instead of 10 years later, we wouldn't have that thing open for 20 years. I also recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. 52 years they worked on it. I got it done in about 2 hours. And instead of endless war in the Middle East, we're forging peace without blood all over the sand. Okay? And countries are coming in, and they all want to come in. And the fact is, I did more in 47 months than Joe Biden did in 47 years, and it's true. What he did was destructive. And now the Democrats are pushing the most far-left agenda ever put forward.
Okay, so the thing is, we do know that there's supposed to be, when they say peace and security comes sudden destruction. So it's needed. It's needed that there would be this kind of peace. And Israel has been a nation now, and we know we're in the victory generation. So not so much about what day the rapture is going to be, even though I've got some high watch dates. I was just, well, let's see. While I'm on here, well, I'm high watch. I'm high watch through October 22nd. Okay. The funniest thing, when I was talking with Brandon today, I was talking to him about how I had picked the plumbing company based on their phone number ending in 22. My zip code in 3 different houses has ended in 22 since 1986. I was explaining to him all about how 22 is my favorite number, but also I have, just very briefly, personally, on October 21st of 2006 was the day that God said, your husband is leaving. He said, he's leaving you today. And I went outside and asked him if he was leaving. And he said, yes, he'd written everybody letters. And so he wrote letters, said goodbye, I'll love you forever, which of course he didn't love you forever if he's leaving your family, right? So that was on 10/21 of 2006. 10/21 of 2017 and 2017 was the year that I became Rapture aware on 3/16 of 2017. That was when my son got married on 10/21 of 2017. Then the other day, I was reading the Bible with the girls that I'm discipling, and hold on, I'm going to get my Bible, so I'll just show you. Okay, so I got my Bible. I was doing Bible study. Now, one of the girls, she's been blind since birth. Okay, the one in Toronto, she's been blind since birth. Glorious Love for Jesus is her channel. So we were reading Colossians 3, but I want to go over to Colossians 1, which says, so we tell others about Christ, warning everyone and teaching everyone with all wisdom God has given us. We want to present them to God, perfect in their relationship to Christ. That is why I work and struggle so hard, depending on Christ's mighty power that works within me. When we've been born again, we have the mighty power of Jesus Christ living inside us. And really at the top of the page, it says, has brought you into his own presence, and you are holy and blameless as you stand before him without a single fault. But you must continue to believe this truth and stand firmly in it. Don't drift away from assurance you received when you heard the good news. The good news has been preached all over the world, and I, Paul, have been appointed as God's servant to proclaim it. So, it's pretty easy just to read the book of Colossians. But I love Colossians 3. Since you've been raised to a new life with Christ, set your sights on the realities of heaven. Bellevue Baptist, the sermon that I was listening to tonight was on Revelation 21 about heaven. So I'll probably put that in the description box. It was really good. Think about the things of heaven. Set your sights on the realities of heaven where Christ sits in the place of honor at God's right hand. It's really hard to hold it over the Bible. I'll just hold it over the flowers. The flowers are beautiful, right? Okay. Christ sits in the place of honor at God's right hand. Think about the things of heaven, not the things of earth. For you died to this life, and your real life is hidden with Christ in God. And when Christ, who is your life, is revealed to the whole world, you will share in all his glory. So put to death the sinful earthly things lurking within you. Have nothing to do with sexual immorality, impurity, lust, and evil desires. Don't be Don't be greedy, for a greedy person is an idolater, worshiping the things of this world. Because of these sins, the anger of God is coming. So many people think that God isn't angry and has wrath in the New Testament, but he certainly does. And if you read Acts chapter 5, he killed 2 people dead in the church, struck them dead for one lie. You used to do these things when your life was still part of the world, but now it is time to get rid of anger, rage, malicious behavior, slander, and dirty language. Don't lie to each other, for you have stripped off your old sinful nature and its wicked deeds, all its wicked deeds. Put on your new nature and be renewed as you learn to know your Creator. Sorry, my lighting's not very good. To know your Creator and become like him. In this new life, it doesn't matter if you are a Jew or a Gentile, circumcised or uncircumcised, barbaric, uncivilized, slave or free. Christ is all that matters, and he lives in all of us. So see, that's the thing, that it doesn't matter if we're Jew or Gentile. We are the church, but we obviously still do love Israel. And for your Creator will be your husband. The Lord of heaven's armies is his name. He is your Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, the God of all the earth. That was Isaiah 54:5 that I woke up with this morning. Since God chose you to be the holy people he loves, you must clothe yourselves with tender-hearted mercy, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. And patience. We don't really like to think about that, and patience. Make allowance for each other's faults and forgive anyone who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you, so you must forgive others, which was what he and I were talking about it. We still have to forgive our spouses, even though they have left us and divorced us. We have to. There's just not an exception in here. We must forgive. Remember, the Lord forgave you, so you must forgive others. Above all, clothe yourself with love, which binds us all together in perfect harmony. And let the peace that comes from Christ rule in your hearts. For as member of one body, you are called to live in peace and always be thankful. Let the message about Christ in all its richness fill your lives. Teach and counsel each other with all the wisdom he gives. Sing psalms and hymns and spiritual songs to God with thankful hearts. And whatever you do or say, do it as a representative of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks through him to God the Father. Well, that is my channel verse, Colossians 3:17. So then, let's go over here. So then I thought, 1:11. So this is Colossians 1, verse 11. We also pray that you will be strengthened with all his glorious powers, so that you will have all the endurance and patience you need. You see where I've got that underlined in purple? As soon as I said that, endurance and patience you need, Karen over in Israel goes, oh, it's 2020. And 2020 means deliverance. they're on military time over there. So she said, oh, it's 2020, before I got the chance to read May You Be Filled with Joy. And then I looked over here. I looked over here and I couldn't believe it. I had underlined it on 10/21 of 2015. So 10/21 of 2006, husband leaves. 10/21 of 2015, endurance and patience you need. 10/21 of 2017, my son gets married and I'm not at the wedding. 2 nights ago, I wrote patient endurance on a stone. I've got this little white stone. I was at a Bible study and they handed them out to the ladies, and I guess there were about 40 or 50 of us. And when I asked God what he wanted me to write on it, he said patient endurance. I've got the little stone over there sitting next to my chair where I read my Bible. So I thought, so then I'm like, wow, that's really weird. 10/21 of 2015. Then I was shocked. 10/21 of 2015. Let me see. Let me show you this. I hope maybe it'll come up, maybe it won't. Let's see. I don't remember the movie, but I remember it, but I just don't remember it from back then. October 21st, 2015. I don't know, 7/28. It's the Back to the Future movie. Back to the Future movie, October 21st of 2015. And that was when I didn't know this, right? But that was when I had written endurance and patience you need. So, yeah, I'm high watch. I love y'all. Oh my goodness. We'll see. Love y'all.